Hi, I'm Alex Bellis with IHS Automotive, and today we're here with a little bit of a departure from our normal review videos. This time we've got two trucks for you. On the left, we've got a 2014 Silverado, and on the right, a 2014 GMC Sierra. Now, these trucks look very similar both inside and out, but they offer a little bit difference in terms of trim level. Over here, the GMC Sierra is fully loaded to the gills, whereas the Silverado's pared back a little bit and doesn't feature quite the same interior accoutrement.
Now, when I say that the GMC Sierra is a little bit more luxurious, it really just comes down to trim packages. Well, this has everything under the sun in it. The Silverado LT is a little bit more pared back. It lacks some of the things like the leather seating and the Bose stereo system, but it still does feature the 8-inch touchscreen, OnStar, Remote Link, things like that. The biggest differences, though, between the Sierra and the Silverado come down to the grille shape and the LED driving lights.
So let's take a closer look inside both vehicles and pair apart the differences. So inside the 2014 Sierra, we have this 8-inch IntelliLink touchscreen system. Now this runs the same open source Linux-based software that we saw in Q, and it's also the same as the Silverado. Now, with GM's commitment to open source software, we first heard about this at CES last year. And this is so that developers can come up with their own apps that can be fully integrated into the system later on. Now, the first app we have available here that comes straight from the factory is Pandora. Now, this pulls in the user's profile and music favorites as soon as the phone is connected with the system. The integration works really well. It shows album art. It allows you to like and dislike songs. You can also see the progress bar so you know where you are in the song, and it works out pretty well. Now, in addition to Pandora, we also have the standard AM/FM radio, as well as Sirius XM and HD radio. Now, all of this plays over the Bose 7-speaker audio system and really pumps out the jams. On top of that, we also have a CD player, as well as 5, yes, that's right, 5 USB ports, so you can hook up anything from your iPod to your smartphone to thumb drives, external hard drives. Just about anything you can think of, you can hook up and listen to in this Sierra. Now, everything on the 8-inch touchscreen is controlled by either the touchscreen itself, as well as the rotary controls below it, but we also have the option of voice recognition or these water and grime-resistant steering wheel controls. Now, with the steering wheel controls, we really like them because they also controlled this wonderful 4-inch instrument cluster display that gives you full access to all the audio and phone and navigation features. But switching back to the main 8-inch touchscreen, with the Q-like system, we also have Q-like graphics. So that means that when we're driving in urban areas, we can see really beautifully rendered and colorful 3D building generation that shows things like 3D landmarks, as well as different floors and stuff for all the big buildings downtown. We also liked how quickly the traffic flow information was updated. We could actually see it updated in real time as we were driving, so we found that really useful. So although we really liked the 3D map graphics here, what we didn't like was some of the menu structures featured white text on a light gray background, which made it virtually impossible to read in just about any lighting conditions. Other gripes included a lot of system lag. Now, we initially mentioned there was some lag in the Q system, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as we're seeing in the Sierra. Just about every single screen has at least a little bit of delay, and it really kind of tarnishes the user experience. But enough about that. Let's hop over to the Silverado and see how that compares. So here we are in the Silverado, and right off the bat, the first thing you'll probably notice is that we're missing this huge center console storage area. Now, along with that, we're also missing 3 of the 5 USB ports that we had available in the Sierra. But really, with only 2 USB ports and an SD card slot, I don't think you're going to be hurting for connectivity ports. One of the other main differences here is that we don't have the navigation system that we had in the Sierra. It can be fitted as an optional extra, although without it, you're stuck using OnStar with their directions and connection service. Again, it's not so bad, but you do really have to kind of trust what the turn-by-turn directions are telling you. You can't look at a map to kind of verify where you're going. And sometimes it'll kind of route you in a weird way that may not be the fastest or most efficient way, in which case you probably want to use your smartphone. Another thing that we have different here is we're missing the 7-speaker Bose stereo system. We still have a standard 6-speaker stereo system that sounds pretty good. It's not quite as crisp and as loud as the Bose system, but it worked well enough, especially if this is going to be a work truck. Now with this system, we still have the same Pandora radio integration that we had in the Sierra, but we also still have the same AM, FM, HD radio, Sirius XM radio, all that kind of stuff that we had available in the Sierra to enjoy in this truck as well. Now one thing we didn't really like in the Sierra that was fixed for the Silverado is the theme of the screen. Now in the Sierra, we had one theme that we were kind of stuck with, and sometimes there would be white text on a light gray background or black text on a dark gray background. In this case, the colors are a little bit easier to read and everything on the screen is a little bit easier to see, but on top of that, we have 4 different themes now that the user can choose from and change to their liking. We've got things like Contemporary, Velocity, Edge, and Main Street, and some of these give a very different look and feel to the infotainment system. While Contemporary and Edge are a little bit goofy in terms of different size buttons, different fonts, kind of strange color themes, we really liked Main Street and Velocity because they offered sort of a smartphone look. The home screen had very easy to see, well-defined buttons that made it really easy to click on, and similarly the menus were also easy to read. Now, the Silverado is missing some of the safety features that we saw in the Sierra. Although we still have OnStar, we're now missing the cameras above the rearview mirror for things like the lane departure warning and collision mitigation. Although when you're driving a truck this big, you still feel plenty safe.
Now, if you compared these two trucks apples to apples and loaded up the Silverado to match the same features available in the GMC Sierra, the Silverado would still be $2,000 less. Now, what that really comes down to is this Silverado is missing things like the leather seats, missing the 8-inch touchscreen with navigation. It does still have an 8-inch touchscreen for the phone and audio functions. And you still get the same great OnStar and remote link apps. But what you're really missing out on is things like the Bose stereo in the Sierra, the leather seats like I mentioned, a couple of safety features like the forward collision warning and lane departure warnings. But really, when it comes down to it, as equipped, this Silverado comes in at $41,000 and offers a great value for the money. But if you have to have things like the LED driving lights and that more stately grille on the Sierra, that may be the better deal for you. It all depends on what the buyer's looking for and what kind of image you're trying to portray. For this and other automotive reviews, check out ihs.com/automotive or subscribe to our YouTube channel.